Welcome back to the podcast. I feel like our weeks have been so off lately that I wanted to say
Yeah.
welcome back because I know it's been kind of crazy. So I appreciate you guys just kind of going with the flow as we kind of move around a lot of things because I am quite literally moving. Me and Alex can see each other right now,
Yeah.
but we're not going to be posting this. Not that I've been doing a good job anyways, but my room is literally empty. There's nothing in this room besides boxes with me right now.
And I'm in my pajamas.
Yeah. So am I. Exactly. Yep.
I'm cozy.
So today's a very cozy day for Alex and I. So I just wanted to say welcome back and thanks again for being so lenient, guys. And Alex, thanks for being so lenient as my life is a bit of a troubled mess. But to kick off our podcast for today, I was thinking about this. Is there I think I've narrowed it down to movies or maybe shows. Is there a show in particular that how when you start especially on Netflix and stuff, if you start a
Sure.
show, it has the skip, the beginning, not the credits, but the opening.
Yeah.
Is there any show that you choose not to skip the opening? You will listen to it every single time, whether it's a song or
The Office.
yeah, you listen to The Office every time.
I listen to The Office intro every time. And now with there's a spin-off show now called The Post, right?
The Paper.
The Paper. Sorry, The Paper. Yeah, which is I actually enjoyed a bit.
I didn't like it. I haven't finished it, but I've only watched 5 episodes, and every single time, Daniel's pretty into it, but I end up on my phone half paying attention.
I would say wait until I found the finale was probably the best episode. The finale, I was like,
I gotta wait for the finale for a good episode.
I mean, it's 2.5 hours of television between where you are and where it's at, right? Because they're half-hour episodes. Anyway, I listened to that. Also, I guess technically speaking, I like a workplace comedy. So, Abbott Elementary, the intro is so short. Right. I also really don't skip through it. How about you?
It's funny that you said The Office because I am hit or miss with The Office because when we first started watching The Office, we were in high school. And then our freshman year of college, my husband went to a university an hour and a half away, and I stayed home to go to a tech school.
Okay.
And so we would continue watching The Office because this was the first time we were watching it. We'd continue watching it, but we would watch it where it was oh, you're on episode 3, I'm on episode 3, we'll both watch it tonight. And so the intro music of that song throws me back to when Daniel and I were doing a long distance. And so it kind of makes me emotional sometimes when I listen to it. I'm like, man, I remember being alone in my bedroom watching this and being like, this sucks. But it is one that I think I listen to pretty often. I think the other one that I really enjoy is Ted Lasso. I just like that song a lot.
It's a good song.
Yeah, and it's another one that it's funny. I guess I don't really watch the show, but every time I hear the song, I always jam a little bit. Is the song to The Big Bang Theory?
Oh,
it's not a show that I go watch, but if I hear that tune, I will sit there and be like, the whole universe is it gets me every single time. It never stops.
Pretty sure that was written by a Canadian band. I'm pretty sure that was Bare Naked Ladies that
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right. As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, you're onto something there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I at one point in my life watched Big Bang Theory from tip to tail.
Really?
It was a dark chapter in my life. And by the end, I just can't stand that song.
Oh, no. So you're like me on The Office, but worse. Now you're like, I don't want anything to do with it.
Well, I also don't understand why, we built the pyramids. And I don't understand why that is the thing that they really, focused in on. I don't know. That line really annoys me.
That's funny that's the one. I think that if I was thinking about games, this is very cliche, but the Ocarina of Time.
I knew you were gonna say Ocarina of Time.
Every single time, again, that one, Zelda's Lullaby just does something to me that I think of my mom. And so anytime I would boot that game up, I would let that go forever. I was never somebody who would skip through that song because I would just sit there and just lull myself of being oh, I love this so much.
Fun fact that is actually the flute sound from the original NES Zelda.
Oh, Didn't know that. That is a fun fact, actually. I love that.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Alex. I'll let you kind of take it away as far as like what we're talking about today, because
Yeah.
this is more of an Alex segment that
Absolutely.
I'm gonna kind of just not be here for. Neither one of us are just like really, I think, just
we
present,
are changing roles here. Typically, I'm the personality hire on the Still Loading podcast, but today I came with notes and I came prepared.
Oh yeah. This is what we were supposed to talk about last podcast before we got stuck on what have you been doing for 45 minutes, which is why we didn't do it this morning, because we're like, we need to get through this and then we can catch up later.
If we have time. Though my life has been, well, my life has been wild, but gaming wise, not so much. Either way. So as we know, earlier this year, the Switch 2 came out. And it's been about 6 months now, and I've been pretty critical. Has it been 6 months? About 5 months. It came out in June.
Yeah.
I've been pretty critical of the Switch 2's launch in that I didn't think it really launched with many good titles. And you know, we're getting we're getting close to the end of 2025, and since it's come out, there's been like Donkey Kong came out after the launch, and Legends ZA just came out, but that's also on the original Switch. So there hasn't been a lot of really great exclusives. Metroid Prime 4 doesn't look great in my opinion.
Oh no. Because that's something you were excited about too, right?
Yeah. I love the first 3 Metroid Prime games. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm being too much of a negative Nancy here. So let's take a look back through the history of Nintendo consoles. And I was going to look at like kind of their launch window the first few months. And then I realized there was just too many games for some of these consoles to discuss, really. So I was like, okay, let's just talk about day one. So I went and found the titles available day one in North America for each Nintendo console.
Okay. I'm very interested in this.
And we'll just kind of go console by console. I think you'll probably have more opinions about some of the later ones than perhaps some of the earlier ones. But still, I think it's just like an interesting look at the history of gaming, at nostalgia, and at Nintendo. So we go back all the way to 1984, right? With the launch of the Nintendo Entertainment System coming from Japan. Nintendo, when they went from Japan to North America, they needed to pick because at the time, a lot of like computer stores and tech stores didn't want to stock game consoles because Atari was like tanked, right? So they had to pick toy stores. And there's a really interesting book I read in university about like Nintendo's decision to like choose what side of the toy store they go to, the boy side or the girl side, and how that's really impacted like society.
Interesting. I didn't think about that because for so long, like I'm sure video games was a very quote unquote like boy thing.
Neutral.
Yeah,
it was. But before it was in North America, then like before Nintendo brought the Nintendo Entertainment System to North America, it was actually a very gender neutral thing.
Yeah.
And from that point, the tech industry actually became very skewed male. When honestly, some early figures in computer science, Ada Lovelace, for instance, were female. But that's a story for another day. Either way. So the Nintendo Entertainment System came to North America with a game called 10-Yard Fight, Baseball, Clue Clue Land, Duck Hunt, Excite Bike, Golf. The Nintendo invented the game of golf. Gyromite, Hogan's Alley, Ice Climber, Kung Fu, Pinball, Stack Up, some game called Super Mario Brothers, Tennis, Wild Gunman, and Wrecking Crew.
Okay.
So like I would say the big games that I recognize from that list are like Clue Clue Land, Duck Hunt, Excite Bike, Super Mario Bros, and Ice Climber.
At that point, did Duck Hunt have? I'm curious, when did they come out with like the guns for?
The gun? Yeah.
Did it have it at that point? That's crazy to think.
Yeah.
Like that early, they were releasing these systems with like such big accessories. Like you think of like, to your point, the comparison of like what did the Switch 2 just release with, and it was a fucking camera that looks like the thing from Mario. Like that's what we get in 2025 versus
a camera and a shitty Discord app.
Yeah, and a Discord app versus they were getting the freaking guns to go hunting ducks, which is crazy.
Now it should be noted that like the Nintendo Entertainment System, like it's like a semi successor to the Famicom that had been out in Japan for a few years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But still, yeah, like I think Duck Hunt was a pretty revolutionary idea at the time, where you could just point a gun at the screen and shoot the ducks, and probably shoot at the dog a few times if you're, when you're annoyed that he's laughing at you.
I love that pinball was also on this too.
Yeah. And there's some of these games here like Excite Bike, even though I don't think it's like a game that's played often, it's still referenced a lot, through Mario Kart courses. And I feel like there's like a Smash Bros, like the Excite Bike guy, you can come out in the items there. And then like Super Mario Brothers, I guess that was kind of a big game.
I was going to say, and again, NES comes out and you're releasing what ended up I guess it'd be so interesting to talk to people about this. Like, which one of these games did you think was going to be the hit, and which one of these games did you think was going to be the miss? And like, Absolutely. Did they think that Super Mario Bros. Was going to be the generation, like Mario now being the face basically of Nintendo? Did you guys ever think that this is going to turn into what it is? So it is like crazy to think like, okay, they launched the NES and Super Mario turned into something that like just continues to be the thing.
Absolutely. And I really think that this set the standard of like the types of games that Nintendo wants to have at launch.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see a lot of the same franchises come up again throughout this list. And it's also surprising to me the number of consoles that have launched with like a generational defining game that really reigns supreme over the entire generation the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to a few more of them.
Yeah.
For instance, with the Super Nintendo, a small but mighty list here. Super Nintendo only launched with 5 games, but those games were Super Mario World, F-Zero, Sim City, Gradius 3, and Pilot Wings.
I'm trying to figure out if I know what Pilot Wings is. I'm assuming
it's like a flight sim game.
That's what I figured. I just remember I think my brother had a flight simulator, but I think it was for his PC. It was not for like the Super Nintendo. But again, your point, like freaking Super Mario World being on there.
Super Mario World and F-Zero, like that's all you need. That's all you need for a long time.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, at that point, they knew Mario was something big, because that's why they decided to make another one.
I mean, at this point, like throughout the Nintendo Entertainment System, right? Like they had 4 Mario games come out.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention all the spin-offs, and like Donkey Kong was a big hit in the arcades, which featured Mario and Pauline. And Donkey Kong Jr. Math, I guess, didn't have Mario, but had Donkey Kong.
I guess I never realized that Donkey Kong might have been in an arcade, or any of these were like, it doesn't like strike me as arcade games. I guess it was like a later on, like it didn't start as an arcade game. It started as these and then went more because like pinball and stuff always picks up like all these random big things that they like just brand as like a pinball game. But it's interesting to think of like Donkey Kong. That's funny. The kid that I take care of at my job, one of them picked up a toy the other day. He's like, it's a monkey. And I'm like, that's Diddy Kong, first of all. He was like, who? And I was like, he's like, is it from a show? And I was like, no, it's from a video game called Donkey Kong. I was like, let's talk about this in a few years when you're a little bit older.
Have you ever watched the Donkey Kong cartoon that came out years ago? Do you remember that?
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's cursed. I'll send you some clips.
Oh no.
That's kind of a cursed. That's another fun episode idea or topic idea, like bad 1980s and 1990s Nintendo TV show spin-offs. Maybe we'll do that.
People give me shit all the time because the what does he say? I know it's in one of them. Link is like,
excuse me, princess.
Yeah. Somebody said that not too long ago, and I was like, where does that even come? They were like, are you kidding me? Like, of all people you should know. I'm like, listen, sorry, I wasn't watching the fucking Zelda show in the 80s, okay?
I have the DVDs for that.
No way.
Yeah.
Packing up my room, I found a lot of like Zelda stuff that I forgot I had, and it was very exciting to like find like my Zelda GameCube game. And so yeah, I was excited to like go through some of my Zelda stuff.
Well, so far no Zelda on the list, though I'm sure it'll come up later. Because this next console kind of birthed, I think, the popularity of modern Zelda in the N64, which has the smallest list of launch titles. On the day that the N64 came out, you could be entertained by one of two games: Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings 64.
I'm about to Google Pilot Wing because I really want to see what it is. But again, it's very interesting that again, like here, okay, we got freaking more Mario, but Super Mario 64 is a freaking just
generational defining game. Like I still play that game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I streamed, I remember playing it. Like it's something, and still today I think about going back and playing it. Like there's so many things. It's one of those games that I look back and like think of like an old game and be like, wow, there's so many things that you could do that I didn't do as a kid. Like just the amount of stars you can collect. Cause like you don't technically have to get all of them to finish the game. You can do it like on a much smaller scale. So it's like, okay, if I wanted to like try to go get all the stars and like all the little side things, like there's so many things to do that you don't realize it in the moment that like it's a fun game to replay and be like, okay, there's so much that I missed versus when I played it when I was like 12, you know?
Absolutely. And I remember as a kid, like before, like I remember when the N64 was like the hot console. And I remember sitting in my parents' basement playing so much Mario 64. And to this day, it's like probably my favorite speedrun to watch are the Mario 64 speedruns.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Like it became such like a big thing. I want to say like last year before on Twitch, everybody was speedrunning Mario 64. It was crazy how big it became.
Oh yeah, and it has its kind of seasons, right? Because I think like Ludwig had a big moment with it in like 2020, I think, where like he and Mizkif and a bunch of like pretty big streamers at the time were streaming Mario speedruns and doing tournaments and stuff. And like obviously recently with Mario 64 speedrunning, Green Suigi getting all 5 like main category records at the same time, like holding all 5 of them at the same time was like probably the craziest achievement in gaming ever. Speaking of achievements in gaming though, Nintendo GameCube.
This one is like one of the ones that like GameCube sits so like high on my list because it's the first one that I remember. Because like the N64, when we had an N64, it was never mine. I have older siblings, so like it was always theirs. Now, when we moved and I was older and I started to realize that gaming was really cool and I wanted to collect a lot of these things, I snatched all of the Nintendo 64 games, and my freaking sister snagged the actual gaming system, the actual Nintendo 64. So we don't have one, but I have all the games
to
it.
To the cartridges. That's funny.
Yeah, I just have the cartridge. So that the Nintendo 64 never being mine, the GameCube is like something big because I remember getting my GameCube and being like, this is my first like console.
Yeah, for sure. What were some titles from the GameCube that like have really stuck with you? Like, what would you say are like some of your like top 2 or 3 titles?
So you want to know something so funny? I think a GameCube, and I remember because I think when you bought the GameCube, I'm pretty sure you could pick. There was like you could get a bundle where you got a game with it, and if I remember correctly, one of them was like PGA Tour.
Okay.
And I remember my dad wanted it so bad. Let me tell y'all, I don't think he ever picked up that controller. My dad was not the gamer. My mom was the gamer. That's where I got this from. And so I remember being so annoyed because I was like, no, there's games like I want with this. Like, why are we getting PGA Tour?
PGA Tour.
And all I can hear now to this day is the EA Sports. It's in the game. It's in the
game. Oh, yeah.
So, like, it's funny that I think of the GameCube and I think of fucking PGA Tour. I don't think of, like, any of mine. But now, none of the games that I played are on this. I didn't do a lot of like Tony Hawk or any of those, but those girls.
We'll get to the list.
Yeah, those girls will get it. But the GameCube had a Bratz game on it that was called Rock Angels, and I still think about that game today. It had the most iconic
Rock Angels.
Yes, it was so good.
What are you doing in this game?
Okay, so basically you were a rock star basically, and it's like you like getting ready to go on tour to like, I think you were going to like Paris or something.
Yeah.
But the whole, oh my gosh, the music, they went so hard on the music. I remember there was she's not around much anymore, but my sister grew up listening to a girl named Aslan, and she had a few songs that was on there. But then Allie and AJ.
Is Aslan like a lion?
No, not like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay.
She had some really good songs on there, but then Allie and AJ, who at the time was also huge because they were doing like not Twitches, Jesus Christ. They had a song in Twitches though, didn't they? I want to say that they also had one. I think it was in Twitches and in Bratz Rock Angels, but there was like 4 or 5 songs from them too. So like, it was just the most iconic game. I remember my friends would come over and we'd sit and play, and it was just so good.
I'm gonna have to look this up after.
That and Rocket Power. Rocket Power had a game that was on the GameCube that I loved.
Oh my gosh.
If we're not talking about Zelda games, that is.
Sure. But yes, as you kind of alluded, none of the games that you remember probably are on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Though there's one game that's very near and dear to my heart on this list. So Luigi's Mansion was kind of like the big launch title for the GameCube, which actually comes out on the Virtual Console for GameCube in like 4 days, and I might play it. Wave Race Blue Storm, Super Monkey Ball. Do you love those Dole branded bananas from Super Monkey Ball? Star Wars Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2, All-Star Baseball 2002, a different EA Sports game, Madden NFL 2002, and NHL Hits 2002. I don't know why it says 2002. Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2. That's a handful. That's a mouthful. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, a classic. Disney's Tarzan Untamed. Then you have Crazy Taxi, and then Batman Vengeance.
No, I'm gonna look up the Tarzan game because I can't remember if I'm wondering if I had it or if I had a Tarzan game on my PC and you have just jogged a memory.
I don't know if I've ever played a Tarzan game.
I'm looking it up.
I actually recently rewatched Tarzan. Have you watched it recently?
No, but I feel like I remember it very well because it was a movie that I watched a lot of as a kid.
I guess I never realized that the only person singing throughout that movie is just Phil Collins.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just incredible. Like Phil Collins montage after Phil Collins montage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is great. It's just kind of weird. And I'm like, how do they have a stage musical of this movie?
That soundtrack makes me cry still to this day. Like, I cannot, the like, come stop your crying, it'll be take me out. Like, I'm just gonna just done. They did
when Tarzan's mom dies.
Yeah, it was so sad. So sad, and then he gets adopted by the freaking monkey, and it's just like so sweet and so sad all at the same time. I was right.
Did you watch Wild Robot?
They did have a PC game. No.
If you like Tarzan, you should watch Wild Robot.
Oh, I remember seeing it. I was gonna say Pedro Pascal's in it. Yes.
Pedro Pascal's in it. He plays a fox.
Yep.
I mean, he's always a fox, but he's playing an actual fox here. But
no, I haven't. But yes, I'll put it on my list of things to watch though.
All right, so PC game of Tarzan. We're gonna stay on topic for one time in our goddamn lives.
No, it's good. Definitely didn't play I did not play the one on the GameCube though.
Sure. I feel like from this list for me, I feel like there are like a couple games that really stick out that have like kind of stood the test of time. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion, a staple. Have you ever played Luigi's Mansion?
I haven't.
Oh, it's a good little spooky game. If
Yeah.
you want a tight, like 6 to 8 hour, like spooky little Halloween treat, Luigi's Mansion. It's a
Okay.
great time.
Okay.
Super Monkey Ball has had its moments online in recent years, actually, of streamers playing it and memeing on it.
Yep.
I remember Star Wars Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2, because there was a demo for it that came with my GameCube, and I played so much of it.
Wait. Hold on. It came like if it was a demo on the GameCube. It was a demo. Was it like already loaded on there, or like? Because I'm trying to think. Disc. I was gonna say, okay. I think I was thinking of the Wii. How you could have like all the little like things. Okay, so you could get demos on a disc. Yeah, back in the GameCube days.
That was a big thing. That was a big thing, and not only that, like I had 2 demos because I had one for Rogue Squadron on GameCube, and then my DS came with a Metroid Prime Hunters demo.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. That's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
News to me.
Kind of just like we got this game coming. It's not ready now, but I guess like Rogue Squadron 2 demo just came with it. I don't know, because why did I get a demo when the full game was out?
Yeah.
Either way. And then I feel like Crazy Taxi is a game I've never played, but I've heard, like, I think it's actually a pretty expensive game now to like in game collecting. And then everything else seems a little shovelware-y to me. I guess Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 is a pretty big classic. Have you played any of the Pro Skater games?
So funny.
You strike me as a skateboard girly pop.
So not because it was mine. Again, I have older siblings, and I have a brother who is 12 years older than me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I knew about your sisters. I didn't know your brother.
Yep, I have a brother who's 12 years older than me. So there's a really big gap between me and my siblings because I was a quote unquote oops baby. My mom thought she was done. My mom thought she was done. There's me. So I got a lot of like I got to experience like a lot of different things because I had such older siblings. So my brother was super into Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and he also for a really long time worked at Best Buy, and so he used to like accumulate all these points. He talks about all the time where he was like, I always was spending money there. He's like, and I get points, and then I would spend more money, but he was also working there, so he's like, I was getting discounts. So my brother had one of those like little fast cars that in the where the radio should have been, he like replaced it, and when you started the car, the screen like popped out. Well, then he wired, I think it would have been the PlayStation 2 maybe, because the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 are pretty similar. They're this gray I think it was whatever one Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I want to say it was the second one. He had it.
PS2 was like black, and the PS1 was like a lighter gray.
Okay, then it might have been the PS1 then. He had it like under his seat, and then like had also like rigged like remote controls like to the back so you could sit in the back and play, and one of the games that he had on there was Tony Hawk.
That's wild. Your brother was a nerd.
Yeah, he was. I get it from my brother and my mom. And so I would play Tony Hawk Pro Skater in his car whenever we were going somewhere. Yeah, it was really cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yep. So that's the only skater one that I really did. And then I feel like maybe a little bit later on, maybe we also had a few other ones, because I feel like I do remember where you like could grind and you would get points, and you wanted to like it would like be like blue or red, and you wanted like as many things as your color as possible. I could be totally making that up, but
I don't recall that.
Yeah.
I do recall playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater with my older brother. Shout out to older brothers.
Yeah.
Keeping the Tony Hawk franchise alive and well. Okay. So the next I think is one of the better launches on this list. And it's going to have I think at least one or two games that are just like all-timers for me and you.
Yeah.
First was the Nintendo Wii, right?
Yep.
Good luck getting it on day one. But if you could get it on day one, you were treated with some great games. You had Wii Sports bundled in. One of the greatest games of all time. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Whatever.
One of the greatest of all time.
You've got Excite Truck. Your bike now has 4 wheels. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Call of Duty 3.
That's crazy.
Cars. Any Cars enjoyers out there? Dragon Ball Z. I'm not Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Something called Elebits, which I probably should have looked up before this, but I don't know what it is. GT Pro Series. Happy Feet, based off of the movie starring Elijah Wood, which was a delight. Madden NFL 07, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Monster 4x4 World Circuit, Need for Speed Carbon, Rampage Total Destruction. I don't know if you've ever played a Rampage game. They're a lot of fun. Red Steel, which was like it was like kind of the demo for the Wii remote, using it as a sword, because it was like a samurai game. Or you might have been ninjas. You were wielding a katana. And then SpongeBob SquarePants Creatures from the Krusty Krab.
I would like to see what that looks like.
Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz, Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, and then Trauma Center second option. It's kind of wild in this list how many like franchises we're seeing launch titles for like a second or third time here, right? You've got the Excite Bike franchise. You've got Madden, Need for Speed, I believe was GameCube as well, right? Tony Hawk. And then obviously we have the first mention of a Zelda game as a launch title.
I guess it never occurred to me that they didn't launch Zelda with like previous ones. Like in my mind, that just was like a given because like it's so big. But I guess that is interesting that the Wii is the first one that, Twilight Princess on. I'm curious of your memories of getting your Wii, because I don't know if we've talked about this before, and I can't remember if we have.
So I was this was a console I actually was kind of late to the party on. Because it was so hard to get, and my parents didn't want to wait in line for it. So like I actually played Twilight Princess for the first time on the GameCube. So the GameCube version is what I remember Twilight Princess. I don't know if I've ever played the Wii version of Twilight Princess.
I don't know if I knew it was on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's and it's flipped. So on the Wii, Link is right-handed in a rare, because he's usually a left-handed guy. But on the Wii version, he's right-handed because the Wii remote was typically in the right hand.
Interesting.
And the whole world is flipped. So if you go left in the Wii version, you're going to go right in the GameCube version.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they just like mirrored the game.
Interesting.
But yeah, I believe. Oh yeah, I got my Wii for Christmas. So I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast. I must have. But I lived in San Antonio, Texas for 3 years. And then shout out to the 2008 stock market crash, sending my parents back to Canada. But while we were there, I remember we spent a Christmas, like the first Christmas we were in Texas. We spent it there. And I believe that was the Christmas I got my Wii. And it came, what did it come with? I think it was Mario Kart Wii was the game that I got with it. I think it was that.
I remember getting my Wii. And I'm trying to remember if I didn't really know what the Wii was at the time, or if it was, because I remember I got the Wii, but I also they had, and I think I've talked about this before though, with the Wii Sports, they had the like the exercise board where you put it on the ground and you could stand on it.
Wii Fit.
Oh, okay. So sorry.
It's a different
game.
Okay.
Wii Fit also, I think when so maybe I got mine later. I really don't know, because I really don't remember ever being like, oh my God, I need this console. Like, I really think I got the Wii and I got the Wii Fit, and I remember being very confused by the whole board situation in the Wii Fit because I didn't know what it was, and I remember being like, as cool as this is, I love that you got me accessory. What the hell is this, Dad? Like, I love
what
that
you got. What are you trying to say to your daughter in this world? Why'd you give me a scale?
So, but I remember like it being, we used it a lot. Like all of us had a lot of fun with it. Freaking Wii Sports was a staple in my fucking childhood. And I think I've talked about this before, that so we lived in a neighborhood like we knew all of our neighbors. All of our neighbors had kids that were like my age. I'm telling you, every Sunday, all the parents would come over and watch football, and then football would end, and we would all sit downstairs with the Wii playing bowling, and like we would have like tournaments. Like this was like an ongoing thing, like forever of us, like everybody playing Wii Sports.
It was a surprisingly like replayable game,
Mm-hmm.
and I think of just all the like videos you see online of people chucking their Wii remote through TV screens because they didn't want to put on the little like
the
wristbands. And yeah, that was a big craze. Like I think the Wii, because I remember seeing people lining up overnight for the Wii's launch, like months and months after it came out.
That's crazy.
And I remember I can vividly remember, so Black Friday in Canada at the time at least was not as much of a thing as it was in the States.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that like around the Black Friday weekend, they had a lineup for Switches at the Best Buy in my town. And I remember driving by and being like, those people are waiting for a Wii. Like, I'm never going to get one. I'll never get one.
Uh-huh.
And like now, obviously, my Wii is collecting dust in my closet. But is what it is.
Will be so for real. I had a Wii on one of these shelves back there.
I remember.
And I took it down.
Rest
I put it in a box the other day, and then like I didn't really think of like where all the accessories to it, and then my husband found a box that said like Lizzy's Wii and games. He pulled it down, and it was like all of the cables to it, and I was
no.
I love this so much that I have all the pieces, but get rid of it. I was like, I'm not gonna turn this on anytime soon. Wow. Not with the kid coming. I was like, I just want the actual console to put out. And people probably are gonna hate me that I just is like, just be done. It didn't help that our Wii, when I was a kid, we had a cat, okay? And all of those cords are like chewed to shit. I was like, I don't even know if this is gonna work anymore. So like just don't. I have a really hard time getting rid of things. I am like anything sentimental, especially like even just the cords, like if I wanted to turn on was really hard. I literally was like, please take this and don't let me see you throw it away. Just get rid of it, please.
See, I'm of two minds. I am a very sentimental, like I want to hold on to my things kind of guy, but when it's time to clean, I just throw shit out.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, and knowing that we're going to a new house that we're bringing a baby to, I'm like, I don't want to get there and feel like I need to do like organizing and cleaning there. So like while we're packing, we're getting rid of things that we just, if it's been in that closet has not been opened in the past 5 years that we've lived here, it doesn't need to go with us. Don't even show me what's in there, please.
Burn it in a fire.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the topic of things that have sat in a closet collecting dust and never used again, the Wii U. So this one launched with, and I was kind of surprised by some of these because there was a title that I thought was on this list that it wasn't. So New Super Mario Bros. U, Nintendo Land, Sing Party, Assassin's Creed 3, Batman Arkham City Armored Edition, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Darksiders 2, Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2. A lot of twos. FIFA Soccer 13, Game Party Champions, Just Dance 4, Madden NFL 13, Mass Effect 3 Special Edition, NBA 2K13, Ninja Gaiden 3, Rabbids Land, Scribblenauts. Do you remember Scribblenauts? Great game. No, I'm thinking of Snipper Clips. Never mind. Scribblenauts.
I was going to say, I was thinking of the ones that, they're the little shapes.
Yeah.
Which I think came on the Wii U, maybe.
Yeah, the Wii. No, the Switch.
One of them.
Anyway. Skylanders, Giants, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, Tank, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Wii U Edition, Transformers, Warriors Orochi 3, Wipeout 3, Your Shape Fitness Evolved 2013, and Zombie U. Boy, oh boy, are those some games that came out at a time.
Sorry, I am stuck on. This is a tangent. Okay, this is a little side thing because it stopped me in my time. So okay, and I don't. It's not the same thing. I know this has nothing to do with the show. Am I the only person who watched Skyland as a kid? Do you remember this? It was like kind of more anime type show.
Look,
That
I have a lot of nerdy hobbies. Anime and manga is the one thing I could never get into.
No, but it's not super anime. It was not super anime. I shouldn't even say that.
Everybody says that. They're like, just watch the first 13 seasons of One Piece and it'll get great.
I hate anime too.
Like...
I'm not. I shouldn't have said anime. It is animated. I guess is more or less. It was very. But it did remind me a bit more of like, I don't know. But
I don't think it has anything to do with Skylanders, right?
Yes, no,
that was the one with like the amiibos, essentially.
No, this was it was a girl and her brother. She had powers. The world had like shattered and it was like in a bunch of pieces and stuff. And God, I was obsessed with the show. And like the whole premise basically of the show was like her trying to not like overuse her powers and like get herself into trouble, blah blah blah. But they're also trying to find their mom because like the bad guy in it like had taken her. And I'm pretty sure it got through like 2 seasons and then I think they stopped making it. And you never find out if they found their mom. Like I remember at the end they get like really, really close. And I remember being pissed. Like, and I was probably like 12 or 13. And I remember being like so angry because I think it was out around the same time that Avatar was. Because I remember we were watching like Avatar and Skyland at the same time.
Yeah.
And I would love to say go watch it, but there's no fucking ending and it still irks me. And I'm 30 and I still think about it.
You have to write them. Send them a letter, be like,
I'm getting my congresswoman involved, okay?
Yes, but back to
I didn't have a Wii U.
You didn't have a Wii U. I got a Wii U later too, I guess. Because I remember I bought the edition with Wind Waker installed on it. And I remember when I got a Wii U because I was working at Tivana. I used to be a tea salesman. And I bought the edition with Legend of Zelda Wind Waker installed, and then I bought Mario Kart 8. And I played the shit out of both of those games. But neither of them are launch titles.
Isn't Mario Party or Mario Kart 8 like arguably one of the better Mario Karts there is?
Yeah, but I think like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with all the DLC is like what really like transcends it. But I think Mario Kart 8, like I put thousands of hours in Mario Kart 8, and we'll talk about the next Mario Kart in a bit. And looking at this list of Wii U games, there's like, I guess New Super Mario Bros. U was a game that stuck around for a while. And the rest, I'm just like, I've never heard of this again. I do like the name of Tank with exclamation points after each. That's an evocative name.
Yeah, there was never a game that I can remember that was on the Wii U that made me go, oh my gosh, I need it. It was never, I remember like my nephew had it and I thought it was like cool that he had like one that like, cause you could kind of like take it with you, whatnot. But that was the only reason is like, I thought it was cool that you had like a handheld of sorts.
I think the best games on the Wii U were almost all, I guess like the Smash Bros on the Wii U was pretty good. But they were all ports or like remakes, right? Like the Zelda remakes were really good. And Xenoblade Chronicles X, I guess, was on the Wii U originally. That was a good game. And I was like, yeah. But it was a short-lived console. I think Nintendo realized pretty quickly they fucked up, and they then released arguably the best console of all time a few years later in the Nintendo Switch 1, which, you know, the list of titles here for Switch 1, because I remember the Switch 1 launch, which we'll talk about, but here are the titles: 1-2 Switch, Super Bomberman R, Just Dance 2017, Skylanders Imaginators, Fast RMX, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, Snipper Clips, Cut It Out Together, and I Am Setsuna, and then this little game called The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
God. I remember like years before I think they like started talking about it like
Yeah.
forever before the Switch was even like talked about that they were making another one. And I remember
Yes.
like sending my mom pieces of this being like, this looks like the coolest fucking game ever.
Oh, absolutely. And like
And then it was.
the I remember like that's why they have the tablet, right? The Sheikah Slate is because the Wii U had that like had the extra screen on the
Mm-hmm.
controller, right? And it was going to be an integration with that. And I guess it technically is because there is a Wii U version of Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when this, like, I think we've talked about the Switch launch a couple times on the
Yeah,
podcast of
yeah.
just like waiting out for this. And I remember the games that I picked up, Breath of the Wild, and I also got Super Bomberman R, were the games that I bought, and then I got the digital version of Snipper Clips, and I played through Snipper Clips with Jess.
See, Super Clips was the one that with the shapes, weren't they? And
I
you could
think
like
so.
cut
Yeah.
like off like the head
Yes.
of the different shapes and shit. Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't play it, but I remember it.
It's a cute little couples game. You and Liv should play it. And
Cute little couples game you and Liv should play.
it's true.
That's funny.
Um, and then I also ended up getting a physical version of I Am Setsuna, but I had to import it from Japan.
Oh wow.
It was a very hyped and very disappointing JRPG.
Ouch.
But it was fine. It was kind of cool that like the Switch had like it wasn't region locked, so you didn't have to have a Japanese Switch to play games from Japan.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you could like if you had the physical game of a game that was only released virtually in North America, but there was like an English translation, you could just put in the Japanese card and it would play fine. So I have a physical copy of I Am Setsuna.
That's cool too.
But obviously, Breath of the Wild, like generational game here, launching on the Switch, and that's all you needed for like 300 hours of gaming.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And at that point, Mario Odyssey had come out, like, right, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were eating good.
I was gonna say
Switch
Odyssey was a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was a great
I
game.
just remember the Switch one coming out because at this point, like I said earlier, the first 2 years of college, I was at home and my now husband was in university an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I had moved to go to the university as well. We moved in together, first apartment, college kids on a very tight budget. Like I remember being like, we cannot go get coffee. Like we don't have the money. If my friends wanted to go to dinner, I was like, it needs to be at the end of the month so I can budget out for it. Like, and it needs to be somewhere really cheap kind of thing. Like we were literally living paycheck to paycheck. And I remember when this dropped and I was like, I have to have it. I was in school at the time for early childhood education.
Mm-hmm.
And you would get these certificates. And in the state of South Carolina at the time, you would get these certificates and you could send them into the state, and the state would pay you for taking these classes that you're supposed to use that money to put towards like college tuition or like classroom supplies. Yeah, Lizzie took all of hers because I made sure I like collected all my papers. I had them. I sent them all in. I got my checks back. Yeah, I took all that and I put it towards a fucking Switch. And we looked for weeks for this Switch. It was freaking crazy when the Switch came out. It was impossible. Absolutely impossible. Like literally, because we lived in a college town. So like we had like a Best Buy and a Target, and we would go.
Yeah.
We also were super close to a military base that we had access that we were able to get onto through a long story of like Daniel and stuff. But also would go on there and go to like the commissary and try to get it in there because we were like, there's less people that have access to this store that maybe we can find it there.
Well, I remember at my launch because I pre-ordered it at my local GameStop that is now closed, sadly. And I remember I camped out, so I lined up at like when the store closed at 10 p.m. And I was like, see you in the morning. And it was, March in Canada, so pretty fucking cold. And I sat there. I was like, I'm on a stress leave from school right now, and so I had 2 weeks off, and one of them was spring break. So my girlfriend at the time was leaving, and
nothing better to do.
Nothing better to do.
Yeah.
And I remember that there was like two lines. There's a line of people who had pre-ordered on one side of the door, and then lines of people that were like trying to walk in and get like another console because they had a few extra stock. And I remember at like there was one guy he lined up at like 2 a.m, and when the store employees came out at 7:45, being like, we're opening in 15 minutes, and then he went down the line of people hoping to get a console, and he gets to the very end of the line. The guy who showed up at 2 a.m, and he was like, I'm really sorry, sir, like, you're not going to get a console today. And he was like, okay. And across the street there was a Shoppers Drug Mart, which is a pharmacy in Canada. Very, very big chain of pharmacies. And they had a little like tech, like, section where like they sold consoles and stuff. And he walked across, he's like, I'm going to still get my copy of Breath of the Wild here. But he's like, I'm going to walk across the street and see if the Shoppers has a Switch. And they did.
Shut the fuck up. That's crazy.
He like knocked on the like glass door, and the employee came, and he was like, hey, do you guys have a Nintendo Switch? They didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, but they went and looked back, and they're like, this thing? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, you can come buy it in the next 10 minutes, but go away, we're not open.
That's crazy. That is so much luck. Holy cow.
Yeah. So Switch 1 launch, iconic, formative memory for everyone. Switch 2 launch, what a mess. So Switch 2 launches with a pretty long list of games. Mario Kart World, and then Switch 2 editions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And then Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, which is a remake of a 3DS title. Survival Kids, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, which apparently is a great game. I have not played it yet, but I own it. Split Fiction.
Final Fantasy. Amazing.
Yeah.
But I played
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I want to play it, but I have to finish this other stupid game first. Street Fighter 6, Civilization 7, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, Hogwarts Legacy, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, Fortnite, Deltarune, chapters 1 through 4, which Toby Fox, maker of Undertale. I haven't heard as much about Deltarune, but who knows? Nababuga's Ambition Awakening Complete Edition. I don't know what that is. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2015.
Wow, 2025, and we have Tetris.
Yeah, honestly, Puyo Puyo Tetris, great game though. I play the original on the Switch a lot. Fast Fusion, which I think is kind of like a fast RMX game. Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition. And then there were the GameCube titles: Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, F-Zero GX, Sonic vs. Shadow Generations, No Man's Sky, and then I think that's it. So from this list, we have like 4 or 5 remakes, some GameCube titles released, and really the only main party new Nintendo game that came out was Mario Kart World, which had a big shoes to fill, but coming off of perhaps, like we talked about, the best Mario Kart game of all time, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I don't think it stuck the landing.
No, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like it. Or like, I don't know if it's that they don't like it in comparison, but I have not heard like incredible things.
Comparison is the thief of joy, and I would forgive it for having like less content if that content was at least as enjoyable as Mario Kart 8. But I don't think it's as much fun to play solo. I think the whole gimmick of like the going from track to track in this quote unquote open world Mario Kart maze doesn't work well because you're going in a straight line, and Mario Kart is meant to be drifting.
Yeah.
And like the piece, like the computer, like the AI difficulty is like, it's one of the most aggressive like elastic banding I've ever seen in a Mario Kart game. Like it's like almost as bad as the N64. So like it doesn't matter how well you play, you're just gonna get absolutely shit on by 23 AI racers.
Yep.
Because they won't let you get a lead, and then you're just going to be stuck.
Yeah.
Getting pelted by shells, and it's just miserable.
Yeah.
And since then, we've had Donkey Kong, which I enjoy.
I've heard good things, and I feel like that should have been their leading
It
lineup.
really should have.
Yeah.
And it's baffling because in Mario Kart World, Pauline and Donkey Kong, the two main characters to the Donkey Kong Bonanza, only have one costume each.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, everyone else has like 50 costumes to unlock, but Pauline and Donkey Kong just have one really shitty alternate costume each. And it's like, okay, well, they must have been waiting for Donkey Kong Bonanza to come out where you have literally like dozens of costumes that you could wear. Nope, they're just not supporting the game. And yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza, excellent. Excellent game. Should have been the launch title.
Yep.
It's the only reason why people should be buying a Switch 2 right now.
Yeah.
And like I know that like Switch 2, I think you had stuff to play because it was backwards compatible.
Right.
But my Switch 2, all I've been doing is playing Switch games on it.
So it's like, what is it worth getting a Switch 2 just to end up playing the same fucking games you've been playing?
And personally, Legends ZA is going to be the first mainline Pokemon game that I don't even bother playing.
Really?
I watched some people play it last week. I was like, nope, not for me.
If it wasn't, I also just think, I don't know, it's crazy to me how expensive games are getting. If it wasn't a $60 game, I would buy it for my Switch and play. I've enjoyed watching like some of my friends play. Like, I don't think it's horrible. I think I would enjoy it, but I'm just not gonna spend $60 right now on it. And I think if it was 45, maybe even 50, like maybe I consider it, but it's like I'm not spending $60 on this right now. Like there's other things I could play at the moment that
there are other
$60.
Pokemon games I think you should play first before that.
Yeah.
I think you should play. I still think you should play Let's Go Eevee.
That's true too. Yeah. I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands soon where I don't think I'm going to be at my PC as often. Yeah. And I think I will be a bit of a couch potato because I do have a bunch of time coming up next month just because I can't really, it's nothing crazy. It's just the family I work for, I don't talk about. So for some personal stuff on their end, I will not be working, and then I'll be back at work for like 6 weeks, and then I'm on maternity leave. So then I'll still have like 3-ish months before I have this baby that again, I'll be couch potatoing. So I have a lot of time to fill in some space that, yes, my Switch is going to come back in handy because I'm going to be probably sitting on the couch.
But not worth it to get a Switch 2. And really, like they don't even have a lot like coming up for Switch 2.
Yeah, it was just such a disappointment too. Like we had a whole entire podcast episode on what we wanted from the Switch 2. And I remember because then we went back and we visited that episode, and there was so many things that we thought they could have done well, and they did. I think of all the things of all the things that we talked about that could have happened, like putting the ability to have Twitch on there, putting the ability to there was just so many options to make it more like some of these other really good handheld devices that they chose not to do. And then they did not have a good leading game. Like, I'm sorry, but I would have rather it been another 6 months for them to have been like Donkey Kong is the leading game, or I don't know, just none of these games were like, none of them drove me to be like, yeah, I need it. I still haven't gotten it. And a lot of people haven't. And a lot of people aren't going to because it's like, there's not, when freaking Zelda came out on the Switch, I was like, yes, I will drop whatever amount of money it is on the Switch just to be able to play this game. But there's nothing for the Switch 2 that does that for me.
Well, and I look back on previous consoles. Switch 1 was really hard to get. Wii U was really hard to get. Or Wii was really hard to get. Switch 2, I really worked hard to get a pre-order, and I did 8 hours of driving. No, 12 hours of driving the day that I got my Switch 2. 8 of it was going 4 hours out of my way to go to the GameStop where my father-in-law pre-ordered my Switch and came back. And then I had to drive for a camping trip immediately. And it was so not worth it because after I picked up my Switch, drove 4 hours back to pick up Jess from work. I'm waiting around. I'm like, okay, I'll stop into GameStop and see if they have anything Switch 2 or later, what's going on. And they literally just had consoles on the shelves, and consoles have been in stock since.
And it just like, and I don't think it was like they did a good job at like over preparing. I think just the amount of people who wanted it was significantly lower than ever. Like I would love to compare like how many units sold from the Switch 2 versus like the Switch or even the Wii U, because I do just think they just didn't do a good job. It was very unfortunate. Like I know a lot of people that like their Switch 2, but again, nobody who has been like, no, you have to upgrade. It's just one of those
As
things.
someone who's like very like a power user of Nintendo consoles, Switch 2 is objectively just better than Switch 1. But I can't on good conscience say go out and spend $600 to like play, like have a Switch 2.
Yeah.
Given that the only exclusive games are perhaps the worst Mario Kart in years and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a great game, but you can wait until there's more.
Yeah. It is crazy to look back and think, because like I said, like we didn't have a great starting game, but then you look back at like the Wii, incredible games to start. I mean, even just like the numbers, like you're talking about the NES had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you're talking more than 6.
Yeah.
Again, GameCube, Wii, like there were so many of them, and a lot of them, like like there was a few that were like, I don't know what that is, but at least like 1 or 2 of them were like huge game-changing events for Nintendo, and then the Switch 2 just kind of was like,
I would argue, and I actually think this is kind of maybe an interesting point, building off of what you said. Really, I think the only system before Switch 2 that didn't have like a generation defining new title on it was the Wii U at launch.
Yep.
Because like even N64 and SNES that had very few games. SNES had like Super Mario World, F-Zero, and Pilot Wings. N64 had Super Mario 64. Like what does Switch 2 have at launch?
Yeah, and really? Wii U didn't need a big game. It brought a whole new piece of gaming, which was having something that was handheld. So like that was in itself was enough to draw attention. It didn't need a whole nother game because you were getting a whole new piece of accessories, you know, like a whole new like thing where, again, like we talked about with Switch 2, you have a fucking Discord in a like a 720 camera, like you weren't getting anything insane from it. Like I'm glad people enjoy it, like don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on Switch 2. I am. I just don't think it's worth my money right now, that's all.
It's not. I'm here to tell you it's not.
Yeah, so but that was good. I think that's very interesting to look back and see like when did it come out, what was coming out with it versus now. Curious to see what Nintendo does. I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of like, okay, yeah, if in 3 months they were like, surprise, we have a exclusive to Switch 2 Zelda game. Okay, sign me up. I'll go grab it then. So I am interested to see what they do. Like, hopefully they have some good things in the works that will bring a bit more excitement. But you know, their directs have also kind of been meh and a flop. So I'm hoping that they're working on something big, and that's where all their attention is going, and they're just not telling us yet. But
one
we'll see.
Can hope.
Yeah, one can hope.
They might just be swimming in a pool of money.
Yeah, that too. Very much. That's very well possibility. But considering I am packing up my house right now, guys, okay. We're gonna cut here. We're not doing a how have we been. Like I said, you have a 45-minute episode right before this about how we've been and what we've been doing, okay? So while we're not doing that, I hope you guys enjoyed this part of just a whole hour of us talking about games and all this work that Alex put in. So thank you, Alex, for putting this all together too. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
And the next episode, I'll be in my new house and everything will be a bit more settled and not so hectic, which would be great. Very exciting stuff. So thanks for listening, guys. And we will see you next time. Find us on all your streaming platforms. And yeah, bye, guys.